Welcome to the Encore today. Back with Pastor Wes. We are going to talk about parenting today.
We're going to do it.
We actually are going to do it. All apologies last time. We kind of got off track, but
what are you
going to do?
People actually said they liked that.
Yeah, and I appreciate the feedback saying that. Like at that point, why would you? It was good to talk about that. Some people like the rawness of it.
Well, it's definitely that.
That one was as raw as it gets because, you know, I have notes and verses and stuff to bring up, so there's often preparation. Not with that. That was just going. So anyway, thank you for your feedback and all of that. Okay, big news today. Big news. Dun, dun, dun. We need a breaking news.
Oh,
banner. Yeah. I think 5 weeks ago.
It's been a while ago.
Yeah. We had my dog. Todd, can you throw up Finn again? Finnegan. His name is Finn. I called him Finn again to show it again. But we do call him Finnegan or Phineas and Finny all the time. You
Doll.
Make up.
There's the shark.
Hey, we got his results back.
You know what he is?
Yeah, sort of. Sort of. Now, let me first mention there was several responses to guesses of what type of dog he was. I
appreciate the interactive response out there, people. That made it fun.
Now,
I think people about to win something.
Yeah, so we are going to give away something today. Now, I have to give it to two people because apparently he's a super mutt.
I've never heard that before. I'm kind of a dog guy. I've never heard that term.
I mean,
somebody nailed it, though.
I'm not a dog guy until now. I'm learning. So we're going to talk about some dogs. But anyway, okay, Todd, let's see the results. So I send this DNA test in, and this is what comes back.
Now, can they see that? Can people see that on the? Now I'm looking at the monitor. All right, talk about it.
So I don't have to read all of those. You can see what it is. American Bully is the highest percentage, followed by German Shepherd. Why does it say German Shepherd dog? What does that mean? Why?
Well, what if it's a German Shepherd cat?
I feel like every one of them then should say dog at the end of them. That was my point. And then Bull Mastiff, which means he could be huge. Okay, I'm going to give it to two people because so many people wrote in a bunch of stuff.
That's my dog, for anyone interested, is the Bull Mastiff, the 12.8.
Bull Mastiff, 12.8.
That's a dog on my porch right now.
Purebred. You should do this DNA test. And so you know what it did? It showed like
what if it came out a German Shepherd?
That would be hilarious. It showed his parents, like it did a family tree, and it was like parents, grandparents, all the way down the line. It was pretty cool. I was impressed with their work. But
props to who? Embark?
Embark.
That's clever.
Embark is a good name, yeah.
Bark.
Really good name.
Embark dog DNA test for everyone out there. We'll go ahead and market that company.
Yeah, and they can give us some props for talking about them. So that's who it's through, and they do. You can go into more depth and look at history and medical history and ways to treat your dog, all of that. I went with the simple DNA results. So only one person actually said American Bully, which is the highest percentage.
It's the highest percentage.
Yeah, but if you look at my dog, I don't see any American Bully in it. Whatever. What do I know? I'm not a dog guy.
Well, you were saying earlier, though, it's hard because an American Bully looks very much like an American Pit Bull, being some kind of relative.
Yeah.
You know, the ancestral DNA contributes to a lot of dogs that have the same bloodlines, sort of.
Yeah.
So we did say it, is my point. We kind of said American Pit Bull.
Agreed.
American Bully's so new, it wouldn't even be something I would think to say. I mean, even now, I don't know how to pick out the difference between a bully and a Pit Bull, but they are different.
Agreed.
And somebody picked up on that.
Karen Lesperance picked up
on it. Way to go, Karen.
Look at this picture.
Yeah, so that's an American Bully.
For her to say that straight up, now she had some other things in there, which is fine. But I'm going to give her one gift card for picking the American Bully. And then I have to give Idalis Slatka some credit. She might have cheated because her boyfriend is like a dog trainer.
He's a dog guy.
Maybe it's from CJ, whatever. But Idalis put it out there.
All right.
I'll give it to her.
Well, that's impressive, though.
Yeah, she said definitely a super mutt, which is just
Never
claiming
knew
that
that was a thing.
Multiple things with multiple shepherd and pit mix. So you kind of see
that's like
a little
that
bit
whole left side
it really
up to the American Bully. I would agree that from super mutt to American Bully, those are all shepherd and pit mixes.
Yeah.
So that gives her the highest percentage.
It does, but I'm going to give Karen some props for saying
Karen
the highest.
nailed that bully.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's good.
Way to go, Karen Lester.
So I'll find you and give you guys a gift card probably this weekend. I will find them and see them.
So earlier I was telling you, you said, where does canine come from?
And so we started talking about the origins of dogs and going, man, there's just so many breeds. How far back does it go? What's the original? And I'm like, what's canine?
And I said, mistakenly, Canis lupus. It comes from the Latin phrase Canis lupus, which I was mistaken, because that means wild dog, like a wolf or a coyote, Canis lupus, I believe. And then it occurred to me that the answer was, no, it's Canis familiaris. And I'm right, a domesticated dog. You know how I knew that?
I have no idea how you knew that.
From watching Wile E. Coyote.
Like 100 years ago or recently?
Yeah, no, a long time ago. When the coyote comes on the screen, it'll freeze. And it'll have a little parenthesis and say, Canis lupus. And it'll say Canis lupus, and it'll go back to chasing the Roadrunner. And some episodes, the coyote does battle with a sheepdog. You ever seen this one? The sheepdog that has the hair in his face he can't see?
I haven't.
And they check into work in the morning? Scott, are you kidding me? It's one of the best ever, dude.
I don't enjoy cartoons now. I like
them
when I was 5.
I could watch Coyote right now.
Oh, no, thank you.
Oh, it's so funny. They made it for the adults watching. The humor is for the adult watching. The kid thinks it's a coyote chasing a roadrunner.
I haven't watched in 35 years.
So
but anyway,
the thing that's happening is there's the sheepdog, and they check into work in the morning. And he goes, "Morning, Sam." He's like, "Morning, Ralph," and they're like friends, and they punch a card. And then the sheepdog goes up on the hill, and the coyote tries to steal the sheep, and they do battle for the episode. And at the end of the day, they punch out, and they like try to kill each other. So the sheepdog, it says when the sheepdog comes on the screen, parenthesis, Canis familiaris. The coyote comes in, Canis lupus. Yeah. See the thing in his face, the hair in his face?
Yeah.
So they're like friends, and then they check in and they fight all day, and then they punch out, and they have their lunch boxes, and they go home. It's so funny. So that's how I knew Canis familiaris and lupus.
That's fun.
Yeah, it's
fun,
it's a smart
fact.
cartoon.
All right.
What's the best cartoon you've ever seen?
I don't enjoy cartoons.
I don't know how that's possible, honestly.
Does The Simpsons count?
Nope.
Okay. Then the answer would be, as a kid, I liked Garfield. I could not even stand it today. I wouldn't
that's because Garfield's terrible.
I was a kid. I don't know. I would not watch a cartoon today.
I don't understand that.
Unless you're talking about Disney animation or whatever. You're not talking about that. You're talking about like a 30-minute.
I'm talking about Daffy Duck.
Gosh, no.
Is hilarious. Right now is so funny. Bugs Bunny, so funny. So sharp. They don't make cartoons that smart today.
I don't think I would enjoy them, but that's...
Anybody out there with me on the cartoons right now, I need to know.
I would like to know.
I need to know if anyone out there picked up on the sharpness of... Daffy Duck's the best. Daffy Duck's the smart. In fairness,
I haven't even tried it, so I'm not saying it's not funny, but the interest level is about the same as sitting in a dentist chair.
Oh, my
Getting my
goodness.
teeth drilled.
It's not like I go home right now and watch cartoons, but I'm saying it's so funny.
All right.
And whoever wrote those was so smart. And I don't think I've watched some stuff now. And I'm like, you guys don't have it anymore. You're just doing it for visual entertainment. They were doing it. They were speaking to the adult in the room.
Okay.
Canis lupus. Let's go.
So wait, what was your favorite? Just end on that.
Daffy Duck.
Daffy Duck. Okay.
Easy.
Daffy Duck. All right. Let's talk about parenting today. Now, disclaimers aside, we're not the parenting experts. Maybe we started talking about this last week. We kind of want to talk about some biblical principles that we use that we can give to people, then also personally our parenting style and why.
Oh man, that's a lot.
It's a lot, I know.
And we're not experts. I have to say that we haven't arrived. Right. No one has, but we definitely have it. So we don't want to come off like that.
Yeah. At the end of this, I want to give some resources that our family ministry has worked on. All right. Very hard work. They've put it out on things, so we'll show that at the end.
Excellent. That's a great idea.
Yeah. You do the Old Testament. I'll do the New Testament.
Oh, okay.
Parenting.
I was prepared for this last week.
We were ready for it last week. So now you know what I'm talking about.
We went off. We got in a little bit of trouble too, but we thought we would.
Yeah.
What you gonna do? It's a new week.
It's a new week. We'll try better.
Okay. All right. So what would you like to happen?
Just read from your passage in the Old Testament, explaining why you would use this passage in sense of parenting.
So this is a governing driver of a philosophy, a general philosophy for I would say, Aaron and I's parenting life, like parenting.
Yeah.
Well, philosophy, that's the word.
Yeah. Isn't it Aaron and my philosophy's life? So if you were to...
What did I say?
Aaron and I's... If you cut out her name, I think the English way to do it...
Aaron and I's philosophy? So I's can't be possessive?
Right. If you cut out her name, it still has to work. So it would be my philosophy.
Is it mine and Aaron's philosophy? Oh, my goodness.
Well, you would
English
say,
teacher.
You would say my
Calling
philosophy.
an English teacher.
My
what is
philosophy. Yeah, we need some English help on this. Sorry. Anyway, I
We're
was
yelling back there. Those
I love it.
Hey! Okay, all right. So here's our parenting philosophy.
That works.
Deuteronomy 6, verse 5, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and all your might. These words which I am commanding you today shall be on your heart. You shall teach them diligently to your sons, or children, of course, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise up. And it goes on, it says things like, you shall write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Yeah. So we do that. We try to do all of that. So this is not just in short, there's not an appointment where we talk about the Lord in this block of time specifically.
Right.
We believe that either it's a lifestyle, and it says you shall write them, you shall love the Lord with all your heart, with all your soul and all your might. Again, re-quoted by Jesus in the New Testament, comes from right there. Mm-hmm. So it's either in our heart, it's either who we are, or it isn't. Mm-hmm. And so if it is who you are, then you teach them diligently to your children. Well, how? Yeah. We do it like this. You talk of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, meaning live your life, when you're going about your life, when you lie down and when you rise up. Yeah. This is a lifestyle and regular conversation. This is not an appointment. This is not an only, we always have a Bible study at this time or whatever. Right. We do some of those things. Right. But not all the time, and that's not the philosophy that we have. It's this needs to be a constant conversation driving back to the Scripture as to why we are what we are, why we do what we do, that kind of thing.
Okay, I'm going to read Ephesians 6, and this is not to say that your philosophy comes only out of Deuteronomy and mine comes only out of Ephesians.
That is correct.
We're putting this all together. Mm-hmm. Wes is a little bit more of an Old Testament guy, more of a New Testament guy, so that's just how it worked out. But Ephesians 6 says, this is probably well known by a lot of people. Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and mother. This is the first commandment with promise, that it may go well with you and that you may live long in the land. Fathers, do not provoke your children to anger, but bring them in the discipline and instruction of the Lord. A lot of people use those verses, but it could mean practically, that can mean a lot of different things. Mm-hmm. But I do think, I'm going to agree with you in the sense of putting these together. This does not mean for you, that I make sure that my kids are on church Sunday morning at 9 o'clock. Mm-mm. Like sometimes that's the thought of the philosophy. I got to get them to church, right?
Yeah.
It's a lifestyle. Like there's conversations.
Right. So you're saying Ephesians, to raise them up in the wisdom, means getting them into church. I got to
get them to church.
Get them to sit down. Listen.
Right. And even, so we're going to talk about this personally of how this all works out. It doesn't mean that they don't go to church. Our kids are at church. Yeah. And there's good things to that. But I think, and our family ministry works hard at this too. If our parenting philosophy is to 100% let the church deal with their spiritual side, I think we've missed some points. I guess is what I'm saying.
I have no expectation that is
right.
The responsibility.
Right.
The church is me fellowshipping and worshiping with the body of Christ, which is the church. Yeah. We do this as a family because Aaron and I are Christians. Yeah. It will later be shown whether or not my kids really came to know and follow Jesus.
That's a good way to say it. Yeah.
It will later be shown, the fruit of their life, their walk by themselves. Some of them profess that now. Mm-hmm. I don't doubt that. I'm not questioning them if they happen to watch this. Oh, you're not a Christian.
Right.
But that will not truly be proven out until later. Yeah. So this is something we do as a family. I don't go, I got to raise my kids to know who God is. I better go get them and sit in church.
Right.
I got to do that. And that's why it's either in my heart or it isn't. It's either in my house or it isn't. Mm-hmm. It's in our conversation or it isn't. Yeah. Otherwise, we're just taking them to a spiritual event that everybody is going to hate.
Absolutely.
That's not who we are.
Absolutely. That's good. Okay, so practically speaking, this could mean a lot of things, how we do that with our kids practically. I'm going to ask you first question. As a pastor, what are your requirements or expectations of your kids at church, at youth group, at events? What do you do with that?
Mm-hmm. So they're going to come and sit with their mom. I mean, I'm the pastor, so I preach, right? If it were me, it would be sitting with us.
Well, I'm asking as a pastor, too, only because of I would say maybe some perceived expectations, too, coming from pastors' kids.
Sure, there are.
I'm adding that in there.
Yeah, there are. And they're very annoying, those expectations. But I don't have any problem smacking that down.
Yeah, sure.
My kids are not going to rise to anybody's expectations. Yeah. Like, I don't, you can't imagine how much I don't care.
Yeah.
They're going to come and sit with their mother at a bare minimum because Aaron and I, are Christians that pursue the Lord, and we are responsible for our house. This is one thing we do. They're going to wait in the same way they're going to wait at the dinner table while we pray to the Lord and thank Him for the blessings in our life. They may not even believe that. They may think it's dumb that we do it. Yeah. But they're going to do it because they're under the authority of our house at this time.
Yeah.
So they're going to come and they're going to sit and listen to the preaching of the word and the body of Christ worship together. Mm-hmm. Beyond that, I do not force them into anything. I'm not. Other than our lifestyle in the house, we're going to conduct ourselves a certain way. Yeah. We're gonna walk at a certain standard of righteousness. We're going to be honest people. Yeah. We're going to pay our taxes. You know, a couple of my kids work, and so we're going to report. So Christianity is infused in the way we live. For example, you know, I hunt with my kids. We're going to buy the license that you can get away with not doing that. They can sit with me.
Right.
Well, why do we have to do this, Dad? Well, because we're honest. We're gonna pay the government for what we're called to, because the Bible says. Mm-hmm. So they're going to do all that, including sit in church. Beyond that, they do not have to go to multiple services. They don't have to serve. They don't have to go to youth group. I don't make them do that. Mm-hmm. So far, they seem to be choosing I'm very thankful for how much they choose to do that. Right. And anything they want to do at that level, I will work to get them to. Yeah. But I don't make them.
Yeah, that's good. I would say mine is very much similar in the sense that we don't necessarily stick with one service. I'm here for all of them, but I'll have my kids say, you need to go to one service this weekend as a family. We don't really fit in the 9 o'clock anymore, so whatever, it's fine. It's been 9 o'clock. And I'm with you. We don't force them to go to youth group or camps, things like that. I want it to be their choice. Mm-hmm. I do think, I think about being a pastor's kid, and sometimes it's possible that I think about it, overthink it, where I don't want them to hate this place, and if I made
the
them
institution of
having to be here, and yes, if you're at every single event, you're spiritual, that type of a thing, and so if I said you got to be at every service that I have to be at, I think they could come to hate this place.
They could,
and I don't want that from them. So but they do. They're similar in the sense that they're choosing to go to youth group. My kids go to camps, winter retreats, whatever.
Yeah, yep. I don't make any of that happen.
Right.
But they okay.
Yeah. So within the what are the goals that you have for your kids as a parent? You and Aaron together, parents. What are the goals that you said this is what we want to instill in them? You could talk spiritually, but other than that, there's other things too as a parent that matter to you.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Yeah, Aaron and I talk it to death, probably too much. We're probably psychos about it.
Yeah.
Meaning, like, I want our interactions and the time that we have raising our kids in a formative season to be deliberate in what they're doing. I don't want to just feed and clothe them and give them a room to live in while they grow up. I don't want to do that. I want to...
Intentional. You love the word intentional.
I won't... So you hear me not saying
it. I know.
I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. I hate that word. You know why, right?
I do know why. Do
you hate it for any...
I don't hate it. No, I don't. That word or any words?
Do you hate buzzwords? It's a buzzword. That's why I hate it. I don't mind you. Intentional right word. People, particularly pastors, love you. Oh, we just want to be intentional with this series. You're such a locker slam. Like, stop talking like that. Like, stop it.
I can't think of any specific buzzwords, but
you can't.
Not at the moment.
There are my word! Where I'm different conversation. I can give you a list, but maybe because I'm so sensitive, I listen to these guys talk. I'm like, stop saying all that stuff.
Sure.
Are you a person?
I like to say intentional just because I know it
It
riles you
just
up.
grinds the gears.
So you're very intentional with your kids.
We're very intentional, Scott.
All right.
Our methodology, blah, blah, blah. We just want to be culturally relevant. Okay.
You got to finish.
All right, I'm mad. Made me mad. Yeah, so
real hard to do.
Yeah. Oh, that's a fair shot. That's a shot. Scott's a shot thrower, dude. Okay. We think about, why did God give us these kids? Because he did.
Yeah.
He gave us these kids. He didn't give us just any kids. He gave us 5 kids, and he gave us the gender and in the order and with the personality and the gifting, strengths, and weaknesses that he gave them to us. So we don't want to conform them to our image. They don't have to live, meaning like they don't have to do what I do. Mm-hmm. I'm following a calling here on my life. This is what I believe to my core, to my death. Mm-hmm. God has built me to do and asked me to do. And I have great abundant life. I have great contentment. I have great peace with God that I am running in the direction he asked me to. My wife would say the same. Yeah. They may not be called to the same, but they are called to something. So I don't want them, I talk constantly, do not just go live your life for living life's sake. Mm-hmm. Do not just go work a job to earn a check, to have stuff that society told you had to have. If you want to do some freak thing, if you feel a calling in your heart, my goal is that they know, first of all, that they know and follow Jesus, that they are fully surrendered, and that they hear from the Holy Spirit as to why they were made and what they were made for, and they run after that at any cost. Not about money. It's not about people. It's not about what society says is acceptable. Go do what you're supposed to do. So we talk about that a lot. Yeah. You were made for a purpose. Yeah. I know, Dad, you say that all the time.
Yeah.
Have you thought about your purpose? Yeah, they don't know what it is yet. And I say, you're going to have to, they've asked me, what do you think my purpose is?
Right.
I cannot speak to that. I won't do it. I'm not telling you that. I'll tell you what you're strong at. I'll tell you what God put in you. Mm-hmm. That is for something. You need to recognize that. And I will say, I don't know if people like that I would say this, but I think it's true. I will say most people waste it. Mm. Your friends are going to waste it. People you look around, adults, everybody, they're wasting it. They're not living for the purpose that God called them to live for. Yeah. They're just living for nothing. Or they're living for earthly things or vain, empty pursuits. Yeah. Do not do that. There's a lot I could say, but that is like the umbrella, the starting gun of where we take off in parenting them. Yeah. And everything comes into that realm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. So, I'm just going to agree with that. I don't need to say that same point over because we're similar in that. I don't necessarily use all the terminology and the words, but we would say that we want to help our kids find their gifts and to hone them for the cause of Christ, like long term. Like what is God calling you to do? I won't continue to talk about that. So for me, I'm just going to add, and I'm not saying adding things in there. Like what we want to do as parents is create independence, right? So
big time.
Like I don't know what the age is. It doesn't necessarily matter. But at 20 years old, if they are very dependent on me and Jessica, then we've not done a good job. It doesn't mean there aren't seasons where they need to stay at home. I don't know. I don't have any specific ages, but I just mean whatever. Like I can't do the dishes. I can't do laundry. I don't know how to clean up after myself. I don't even know how to have a conversation with an adult. Like those are types of things I want to go. I'd love to be able to send you off and be an independent person. And with that, like Jessica and I talk about letting them see our mistakes. Like we're parenting with love as much as we can. Yeah. And I don't mean this as a shot against my parents, but I had this philosophy that my parents were perfect. I know that sounds weird.
No, it doesn't.
As a younger kid, and it was almost like, I don't know, I never expected them to make a mistake. And then when you get older, you actually see it and go, something's weird, So just having those conversations, and we want conversations to be open all the time. So we'll talk about anything, super awkward conversations about sex with my kids when they're like, oh gosh, Dad, are we really talking about this? But we're going to talk about it. Yeah. So add on that some other thoughts that you think of that you daily intentionally do with your kids. What else you got?
So intentional. Well, independence is, And so it comes with risk, and I get that. Like, a lot of parents hold back the line, I guess. I don't even want to say opportunity. I don't want to do a right and wrong here, and I don't want to stand in judgment of people that do it different. I mean, they were called to what they were called to, so they need to work that out with the Lord, with the kids that God gave them. But I understand why a parent would hold back the line of independence, because with independence and with pushing them in the direction of independence comes great risk. Physical harm, mental harm, emotional harm. It comes with great risk. And I push my kids, I would say, probably to an extreme, into the direction of independence. And it freaks people out sometimes. And again, this is not a better or worse. This is how dare I come to the place right now where I would be bragging over that and have to be humbled, because I know there is an incredible risk with how much I'm pushing them out there to gain leadership and gain self-confidence and gain strength and identity in themselves. I am doing that. But I also do acknowledge that comes with what seems to be a heightened risk, where I could shelter them more, I could hold them back, I could do it for them, I could take it slower. And there would appear, I don't know how that works. I don't know how the protective hand, because if you ask me, like, well, why wouldn't you do that? Because I don't know if it's real. I don't know, because I kind of think the protective hand of God has it anyway. This is a whole different territory.
It is.
But that's what people say, well, how do you do it and have a comfort? Because if I believe what I say, that God has caused them to be born into the world, and he has a purpose for them, and I am the flawed father, but he has a plan for their life, then he's going to exact that plan, and I don't know how much I can mess that up. I mean, okay, I can mess it up, right? But I don't know if I could, like, put them into a place where their life is going to end or something. And if it did, then I have to accept God could have stopped it, and he didn't. And that is the plan, and that's hard to accept. So when I put them out there, people are like, what about all this risk? I'm like, well, God's got it. Like, I believe I have to surrender that, because they're his kids, really, not mine. I'm a manager here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I guess all of that to say, we both, Aaron and I, tilt heavy, meaning I put them in positions very early for physical risk. I don't know how to practically work that out, but
I think you let them drive machines at younger ages, or I'm not to the extent of you are, but I let my 6-year-old chop onions and tomatoes with a knife. People would freak out about that stuff. And
we never baby safetied our house. How about that? I let all my kids fell down the steps and smashed on the floor, were bloody and scarred to this day. I let that happen. We were never going to do it. I never bubble wrapped my house. Again, it sounds judgmental to say to somebody out there who might do it. I don't mean it that way. I'm just trying to practically work it. So people are like, well, I like what you're saying. What does that practically mean? How did you do it? I let them fall and crash and get hurt from the start. From the flip out of the crib and smash on the floor.
Right. Yeah. And again, this is what we've talked about, our philosophies on certain things of why we see it and why we see it that way. There's also the other side of it too, where you talk about a risk of sending them. You could talk about the risks of sheltering them too much. There's massive risks in that. Risks don't look the same.
I think so. I don't like that, but I just want to be careful, because I think I can be a know-it-all. I'm working. I'm 44.
Never noticed.
Trying to mature. I'm trying to be a humble, nice guy.
I know.
I'm trying to grind off some edges. I got a lot of edges, and I'm starting to really realize it's a little late to be realizing it, but better late than never. And I've hurt people because I've said things about their parenting or whatever, and I don't want to do that.
Right.
My conviction is, in unity with my wife, is that we think that there is as you say, to just take what you said and take it as my own. Just say that again. Talk about that.
A risk of over sheltering them? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So I would rather my kind of risk than that kind of risk. And I would rather the potential fruit of this path that I'm trying to take than the fruit that path seems to produce.
That makes sense. Yeah. Like
you understand?
We know the risks and consequences, potential consequences going into it. Yeah. So I would say this. And I'm, we're all similar in the sense of what you think is right or right for your kids. I remember 15 years ago, my oldest son is 14. 15 years ago, I was the best parent in the world.
Knew everything. Gonna do it all right.
I knew everything. And we would see other parents and go, why would you ever name it? Whatever. On either side of it. Why would you ever? And then you have kids, dude, and it changes everything. And then on top of that, you have a second kid, and he's not like the first. Right? So so then you're going, wow, man, now I'm literally parenting my kids different because of their personalities and all of that. So all of that to say, there are no obvious right and wrong answers. And schooling and all of that is a huge part of it. And
so there was only one way to do school. And there was only one way to feed them a certain diet.
Right.
And there was only one way to discipline them. And I don't believe that.
Right. Yeah.
There is a way. And there is a way for kid A, B, C, as you say.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's not only one way to do it. So I guess, what are we saying, right? Here's the question people should be able to answer, though. What governs your parent? What's your philosophy? What are you doing? And why are you doing it? I do know those answers. People may not agree. They may not like it. They may choose a wildly different path, and that's fine. But I do think we have a right to encourage people in the direction of saying, you better know why you're doing what you're doing and what you hope the end fruit should be. I know why I'm doing what you can call me nuts, and I know why you're saying that, and you have a right to say it. But if you say why, I'll have an answer. This is why I'm doing it.
That's really good. And I think with that, that's why we started with these passages is our philosophy is driven from that. But it does not lay out a perfect blueprint of this is how you do it. But we do it. Why? Because we see things in here of like this is our reason for doing it. And on top of it, I would add trying as best as you can, husband and wife, to be on the same page.
Yeah, that's
and I
huge.
know there are single parents out there too. So
and that's what the thing is. We're talking in a certain way. Yeah. It's complicated out there.
It's very complicated.
You have saved and unsaved, parents that aren't going to, they're not going to be on page, so you got to navigate your marriage first. So I do want to say that. Don't feel like a failure listening to what we're saying because you can't do it like this. You might have to focus more on your marriage, and that is the philosophy of raising your kids, to focus on unity in your marriage now. Yeah. You got single parents, you got divorces, you got horrible things. It's tough, man.
It is very tough. Yeah, so all that to say, that's why we started. Like, this is our philosophy. I hope you don't think that this is the only way to do it, or that we're saying that. We're not saying that at all.
No, it's not. It's our way.
This is
in
the
our
reason.
Context.
Yeah, this is the reason. So within that, too, I want to end with some resources. I'm glad you said that about the reason why, because I wanted to close with that. But I want to give some resources for people that are just looking for resources to say, I want to do this better. I want to answer the why for myself, whether you're a single parent, whether you are separated, whether you are married. So our family ministry has, Todd, I don't know if you have these things on the screen or not. Awesome. If you have the app,
look at that.
There is actually
It's on the Rock Church app if you don't have it, which you should.
Rock Church app. Everybody should get this. If you got the old smartphone, Connect at the bottom, so Connect is the tab, and then you can go into different things. And then there's parenting. Parenting has, so all of these have either videos or daily devotions, a lot of scripture reading, a lot of philosophies behind that, dealing with technology.
I like that teenage struggle thing right there. There's a lot of good stuff here.
Yeah.
So go wrestle it.
Yeah, I hope you'll check that out. Fire questions at us, too. I would actually maybe send them more to Brian and Christy, the family ministry, too.
Yeah, don't send them to us.
Yeah, whatever. We're going to talk about this. But I want to end with this. Honestly, my personal opinion, I think parenting is the single most, the hardest thing that I have in my life. When I think about ministry, marriage, I don't know, all of it, like dealing with life, to me, parenting is the hardest thing.
Is it?
It is. I don't know if you would agree with that or not. That's fine.
It's different. Honestly, it is on certain days because there's such a deep emotional, connection. There's such a deep consequence to everything you're doing, I guess.
Yeah.
It is. I don't disagree. I hedge a little bit to say it as cleanly as you're saying it.
Okay.
Because the ministry is so hard.
I'm not trying to paint ministry as easy. This might not be the right answer. I'm just going to state it straight up. I have one wife. She's awesome. It's very helpful.
Yeah.
It's not marriage, even though there's difficulties in
marriage.
I'm saying, yeah.
No.
I'm laying these three out.
I see. Marriage, parenting, and ministry.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah. The reason I pick parenting over ministry is because I love my kids more than I love the church. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. I'm just being honest with you. My three kids mean more than the 1,000 people here at this church.
Well, I hope so. That's why the Bible qualifies you as an elder to rule your own household well, or you're out.
Yeah.
So even the Bible puts it higher.
Right.
Right? Because as he's saying, you can't even shepherd the household of God if you can't do it at home, meaning that one's first.
Yeah. So maybe ministry takes up more of my anxiety and daily tasks, but at the end of the day, like, I go to sleep worrying about my kids more than I do about the church, if that makes sense. So that's why my answer is parenting.
And I agree with you 100% on that.
Yeah.
Sometimes the weight in a given day tips heavier in the ministry. You have some good days at home, so you don't feel it the same way. I agree. The consequence seems to be greater. Again, so much so that it will qualify or disqualify us from the ministry itself.
Yeah.
Like God is saying, you can't.
Yep.
You got to do this well over here. So it's a big deal.
Right.
And it's the entry door into being a shepherd of God's people.
Yeah.
But the weight of it sometimes is so crushing. It's just like,
totally. It's true.
How do you go on?
Right. How do you go on?
It's
wow.
a different
Debbie Downer, yeah. All right, we're gonna close it out there. Hope you guys can check out these resources that we've shared with you. Thank you, everybody, for the comments on Finn. I'm gonna have some gift cards for Idalis and Karen. And as always, don't take our word for it. Be in His, and we'll see you next time on the Encore.